on the cutting edge, future technology. Oh shit, mic's still piped in. Guess I need that. Ha! This is no ordinary hat. This piece of ingenious technology I've created, look, it's even got an elastic on it. You ever fight with a piece of paper and tape in one hand and wrestling a mic and you're trying to tape it up? Anyways, this is just a simple mood collar. So I searched the house high and low for some kind of cardboard or something I could use to make a cone. Because what I want to do is put this on my mic. Put it on the mic, angle the mic down into the sink like a parabolic dish, amplify it, right? Simple pimple. Check this out. I did a simple test where I just simply did Mary Had Little Lamb. So the top one, that is with the cone. So I spoke the rhyme twice at the same level, just talking normally. That's without the cone on the bottom. Much quieter, you can see it, right? So this is actually, I mean, it's a very simple premise, but it's gonna work. I kind of got to a point where I was tired of hearing people tell me, oh, I'm an idiot, I'm hearing sound voices where there are none. People are in such a rush nowadays, they don't want to give you 5 minutes of your time. I've spent hundreds of hours, literally, in the past month or two, doing these videos. If you can't go through each video, I'm not saying that you have to go through each video, but if you go through even one video, and if I've given you 20 examples of them speaking to me, if you can't find one where you hear that and you go, holy shit, something's talking to him, I'll eat my shorts that I've been wearing for 5 days. Because you know what? If you say you can't hear one phrase or example that they've spoken and you can't, no, I can't hear shit on all of them, it's just clicking and clacking, then you're full of poop. Project MKUltra is the code name given to a program of experiments on human subjects that were designed and undertaken by the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency, some of which were illegal. Experiments on humans were intended to identify and develop drugs and procedures to be used in interrogation in order to weaken the individual and force confessions through brainwashing and psychological torture. The project was organized through the Office of Scientific Intelligence of the CIA and coordinated with the United States Army Biological Warfare Laboratories. Other code names for drug-related experiments were Project Bluebird and Project Artichoke. The operation was officially sanctioned in 1953, reduced in scope in 1964, and further curtailed in 1967. It was officially halted in 1973. The program also engaged in illegal activities, including the use of U.S. and Canadian citizens as its unwitting test subjects, which led to controversy regarding its legitimacy. Alright guys, hopefully this works. I'm going back with the little bowl. And over here on the counter I have set up This is Project Elephant Ear, take 1. Rudimentary, I know, but if it works, maybe I'll make a better cone. I'm going to go with the bowl method again. Morning, spirits. Thank you for joining me. I'll just be 1 minute. I gotta go downstairs and make sure the mic's working. Good thing I checked, because it actually wasn't recording. I had pushed the mute button by accident, I guess, when I put the cone on. Alright, I have a whole page. See, I do actually take the time to think about what I'm going to ask. Let's get this rolling and see what happens. MKUltra used numerous methods to manipulate its subjects' mental states and brain functions. Techniques included the covert administration of high doses of psychoactive drugs, especially LSD, and other chemicals, electroshocks, hypnosis, sensory deprivation, isolation, and verbal and sexual abuse, in addition to other forms of torture. Project MKUltra was first brought to the public's attention in 1975 by the Church Committee of the United States Congress and the Rockefeller Commission. Investigative efforts were hampered by the CIA Director Richard Helms' order that all MKUltra files be destroyed in 1973. The Rockefeller Commission investigations relied on the sworn testimony of direct participants and on the relatively small number of documents that survived Helms' destruction order. In 1977, a Freedom of Information Act request uncovered a cache of 20,000 documents relating to Project MKUltra, which led to Senate hearings later that year. Some surviving information regarding MKUltra was declassified in July 2001. In December 2018, declassified documents included a letter to an unidentified doctor discussing work on 6 dogs that were made to run, turn, and stop via remote control and brain implants. So I just want to document something here. So the elephant ear project didn't work. The gain was just too high, I think, because it's very muffled. Man, did I get a lot of conversation with it, but it's really hard to decipher. So I've also filtered the camcorder, which of course I can use as backup, and I put the 2 tracks side by side again, so I'm analyzing both. And I just hear a spot where they're telling me my stepdad is with me. He says, stepdad is with ya. And the elephant ear, the mic, the Yeti mic, that was it. That's all it said. But the camcorder also picked up a woman saying truly right after that. Oh, so my point is that for the most part, I'll be using the camcorder audio because it's a lot clearer and crisper. But if I do find anything interesting on the Yeti mic, I'll put that in there as well. Okay, spirits, I'm back. Thank you for joining me today. I appreciate your help on this topic. Okay, here we go. Is this cone going to make a difference, spirits? Today I want to talk to you about the MKUltra project started in 1955 by the US government. Was MKUltra really halted in 1973? The project was headed by Sidney Gottlieb, but began on the order of CIA Director Alan Dulles on April 13, 1953. Its aim was to develop mind-controlling drugs for use against the Soviet bloc in response to alleged Soviet, Chinese, and North Korean use of mind control techniques on U.S. prisoners of war during the Korean War. The CIA wanted to use similar methods on their own captives and was interested in manipulating foreign leaders with such techniques, devising several schemes to drug Fidel Castro. It often conducted experiments without the subject's knowledge or consent. In some cases, academic researchers were funded through grants from the CIA front organizations, but were unaware that the CIA was using their work for these purposes. One 1955 MKUltra document gives an indication of the size and range of the effort. It refers to the study of an assortment of mind-altering substances described as follows. When was the project really halted? Does the project continue to this day? They tested brain implants on dogs. Did they try this on other animals? Holy, you won't believe what this thing just said to me. So in my routine questions, I said they tried it on dogs. Did they try it on something else? Then I hear it say elephant. Look it up. I'm like, whatever. Okay, weird, right? I'm still hundreds of hours into this. I'm still doubting these voices. I look it up. Louis Joylon West. Let me read this to you. He was an American psychiatrist whose work focused particularly on cases where subjects were taken to the limits of human experience. He performed a highly controversial psychiatric evaluation of Jack Ruby, and he was chairman of the University of California, Los Angeles' Department of Psychiatry and the Neuropsychiatric Institute for 20 years. West was deeply involved in Korean War-era CIA brainwashing experiments, the agency's notorious MKUltra mind control program, and the use and an intentional abuse of LSD, as it being administered to unwitting people who then suffered traumatic hallucinations, even at one point killing an elephant with it. What more can I say? Early CIA efforts focused on LSD-25, which later came to dominate many of MKUltra's programs. The CIA wanted to know if they could make Soviet spies defect against their will and whether the Soviets could do the same to the CIA's own operatives. Once Project MKUltra got underway in April 1953, experiments included administering LSD to mental patients, prisoners, drug addicts, and sex workers, people who could not fight back, as one agency officer put it. In one case, they administered LSD to a mental patient in Kentucky for 174 days. They also administered LSD to CIA employees, military personnel, doctors, other government agents, and members of the general public to study their reactions. LSD and other drugs were often administered without the subject's knowledge or informed consent, a violation of the Nuremberg Code the U.S. had agreed to follow after World War II. The aim of this was to find drugs which would bring out deep confessions or wipe a subject's mind clean and program them as a robot agent. Did they try to manipulate humans through brain implants? I'd like your comment on this, because I'm sure that people's lives were ruined by the drug use associated with these experiments. Is that true? Can I get your thoughts on that? Does the U.S. government still experiment on unwitting civilians to this day? A recent article I read discussed psychoactive drugs allowing people to access the spirit world. Is it easier for you to communicate with people when they're on drugs like LSD and heroin or whatever? Did they ever succeed in creating a robot agent that they could manipulate into committing an assassination? The CIA exported experiments to Canada when they recruited British psychiatrist Donald Ewan Cameron, creator of the psychic driving concept, which the CIA found interesting. Cameron had been hoping to correct schizophrenia by erasing existing memories and reprogramming the psyche. In addition to LSD, Cameron also experimented with various paralytic drugs as well as electroconvulsive therapy, at 30 to 40 times the normal power.
His driving experiments consisted of putting subjects into drug-induced comas for weeks at a time, up to 3 months in one case, while playing tape loops of noise or simple repetitive statements. His experiments were often carried out on patients who entered the institute for common problems such as anxiety disorders and postpartum depression, many of whom suffered permanent effects from his actions. His treatments resulted in victims' urinary incontinence, amnesia, forgetting how to talk, forgetting their parents, and thinking their interrogators were their parents.
What happened to the guy they administered LSD to for 174 days? Did these experiments kill him? I imagine other countries had similar projects. Which country committed the worst experiments on their people?
Okay, this is mind-blowing. I asked them about what other countries would have done this and who was the worst. They friggin' call them out. It says Russia, plain as day.
Do you have a message for me today? Do you have a message for our viewers?
Okay, I know I keep piping in here today and I'm getting some amazing responses, but that is like the most awesome thing I've ever freaking heard. Continue to view. If you're interested in Grant and Gary's living channel, I amplified it says living. I don't know. I guess because they're dead. I don't know. Thank you for watching our show. Like...
Okay, well, thank you very much for helping me with this experiment today and answering my questions about MKUltra. I want to say peace, love, joy, and adventure to you. Thank you all.